Hi again, Doug here from X-Frames FPV, and today, we've got a frame review, and a customer reached out to me and asked if I would review a frame that they are bringing to market, so I was glad to do it. I know nothing about this company other than this frame that was sent to me. The frame is the Nidici or Nidici, I don't know, it's Nidici, I don't know how we pronounce it. But this is a stretched X. They call it the Black Pearl X5. And it is 5-inch and pretty well laid out frame. And so we're going to get to the tabletop of it and kind of take a look at some of the specs and kind of give you a little overview of what my thoughts are initially on this frame. So let's get to the tabletop. All right, so here we go. This is the Nidici, is what I'm going to call it. I don't know if that's the right way to pronounce it. We've talked about this before on my channel. I'm not going to always pronounce things right, so get used to it. So, you know, I wanted to show you there's some very distinct similarities to, this is one of the drones that I fly. This is the XB XV2, one of my all-time favorite frames, just because it's just super durable. But you can tell if you look at these two, make sure they're both in shot. Yeah, if you look at these two, the arms especially are very similar. Let me get those. Let me just lay them down on the table here. The arms are very similar, and just the overall layout, you know, obviously we got a little more protection here for the camera, which actually I do like. That's one of the things I wish we had, a little more protection on this for the camera. I haven't had issues with it, but it's just something that's at some point probably going to have a problem if I hit it just right. But if you look at it from the side, you know, they're very similar. And so there's no question that they did draw from this as far as on the design side. Carbon fiber looks decent. Let me center the camera so you guys can get a good shot at it. The layers are fairly tight. It is chamfered, which is really nice, and super, super stiff. Carbon fiber, let me look here, is laid out pretty much the same way as in an XB. It had that same, you know, one of the things, and this is one thing, you know, I was reading on Amazon, because that's for, the person reached out to me and said, hey, would you be willing to review this? I said, yes. And it actually was sent to me from Amazon. And some of the reviews said, you know, the parts are fit too tight. I had to file it down a little bit. I don't mind that. And the reason is because I'd rather it be that way, to where you have to file it down a little bit and get it to fit just right, rather than have a little bit of play, because then over time, we've talked about this, over time and crashes and different things and hits, that stuff kind of starts to wear out a little bit, and it just, so you get a little bit more life out of the frame. So don't mind that at all. Let's get some measurements on this. Sorry about the chair. I had a comment last time about my chair. My wife keeps on telling me, you have got to get that thing replaced. And I know I do. It's just a matter of time. So we're at 96 grams without a battery strap, which I usually weigh them with a battery strap. Battery strap's going to add about 4 grams. So we're at 100 grams. So it's a little on the chunky side. Part of that, or a big part of that, is because of the size of, let's make sure you guys can see that, because of the size, there we go, of the carbon fiber. It is over 5 millimeters thick. And so top plate, you know, that adds to the weight, is a little over 2. Bottom plate is, I think, 3. No, it's 2 as well. So all the plates are 2 millimeter and the arms are 5 millimeter plus. Now, you know, in comparison on my XBV2, you know, it's right at 4 millimeter, which should be common, either 3 or 4 millimeters. So they've gone bigger on the arms. There's things that are good about that, and there are things that are bad about that. One of the things, I'm going to zoom in here a little bit more as we're doing just the drone itself, or the frame itself. One of the things in designing a frame, you want to know where the breakage is going to occur. Well, on this frame, the breakage is more than likely going to occur on the bottom plate and on the, this middle plate here, simply because it's 2 millimeters as opposed to 5 millimeters. You're going to have to be doing some pretty heavy hitting to get the 5 millimeter broken. So there, some people, like for instance, when Rugi or Kebab FPV designed the floss, he designed it for the arms to be one of the weakest points, so that because they're so easy to replace, you replace an arm in just a couple of minutes and throw a new motor on it and you're done. And so he specifically designed those arms a little bit on the thin side in special areas, and he knows in his designing where they're going to be, the break point is. So with this, it's not going to be an arm, it's going to be a bottom plate, and sometimes that can, obviously can be more work than just replacing an arm. But I think it's one of those things, some people would rather replace a bottom plate that's a lot less expensive a lot of times than an arm is, and then you got to pull the motor off and replace it. So all that to say, I think overall they did a good job on this. This is I think it's like a $40 frame on Amazon with Prime shipping. And so that's a pretty good deal. It's laid out, in a good way. It does have one of the differences as opposed to a wider stance here, like on the XB, they decided to shrink it in and then have this one piece carbon fiber going out. You can opt to not have that. I don't have the pieces here with me, but basically you can delete this piece that goes to the back and just only run the front plate. I left it on there because it doesn't make that much of a difference, and that's just the way I decided to build it. It does have a nice mount here for your GoPro or whatever you're running on there, RunCam 3 or whatever. And so I'm going to build this up and get this to the club, and they will put it through its paces and we'll see exactly how well it handles some crashes and that kind of thing. So we'll kind of report back on that. That will be a little bit down the road because, I got to build it and then get it in service. So guys, appreciate you. Thanks for hanging in there, and check out my website, xframesfpv.com. You can see builds and pricing and just all sorts of things there. We're going to be doing some updating to that. So stay tuned. There's some, kind of some exciting things coming up here on the horizon. And, you can check out this. This, like I said, is available on Amazon. It's Nidici Black Pearl X5. And I appreciate them sending this to me and letting me review it. I love reviewing frames because I love building them and seeing what different designers do. It's just something that I love to see, the little changes and that kind of thing. So, guys, hope you have a great day, and I hope you get some time to fly.